How are you?
I'm doing well. So I wanted to meet with you today to go over your child's test results. So feel free to ask me any questions about it. We're going to start by going over the comprehensive test of achievement.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
Okay, so the comprehensive test of achievement is an achievement test. It's a standardized test that we took back in March, and it goes over all of the subjects. For us, it helps us to see where your child's strengths and weaknesses are, and where we as teachers can change our teaching strategies as to help the student to further understand everything. So it was taken over a series of days, and the results are really kind of tricky and confusing to go over. So that's why I wanted to meet with you so that we could go over them together so that you can understand them better.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Alright, so first off, at the top of the test, it shows the basic information of your student. So it has my name, the school, the district, and your student's name. And over here it has your student's grade, the test date, which was in March, and then your student ID, which we use so that way all of their information is confidential, so that way we don't have to put their name on everything. We can just use an ID number instead. And it also has the form. So in the top half, it is compared to a norm group. So it's the norm reference part of it. So basically a norm group is a group of children from all over the nation, about 20,000 students, and they take the test before it's released, and so then we use their scores to compare them to our students. So they're compared to a national average.
Okay. So if Alex is considered the norm, that means she's on track with the rest of the nation?
Exactly, that's exactly it.
That's cool.
So now that we understand what the norm is, we can look at the top half of this. So there's many subsections. So there's the reading, math, language, listening, spelling, science, and social studies. Is there a subject that you wanted to take a look at first?
Let's look at math because it looks like that's her lowest score.
Okay, well actually she did quite well in her math concepts. She did struggle a bit with the problem solving and procedures. So I've noticed in the class that she kind of gets frustrated with math problems.
Yeah.
And so when she does, she seems to kind of shut down a bit. So I've been working with her to just talk through what she needs to do for each problem, so that way before she even starts the problem, she has an understanding of where to go with it. And that seems to be helping her be more confident in her math.
I've noticed this at home too, because when she has math homework, I can tell she is having problems, and then she gets uninterested, and then it's a problem at home. She doesn't know where to start, so I try to help her obviously as best as I can, but the last time I was in elementary school was a long time ago.
No, I completely understand.
Okay, so I'm I can help her as much as I can, but we'll try and work on it together.
Yeah, I think just talking through it is helpful for her to gather her thoughts about where to go, and once we talk through it a little bit, she is good to go.
Okay.
So if you look at the bottom section, it has over here, it has the basic battery and the complete battery. So this is going to be really confusing. So the basic battery is where we take the 4 core subjects, well not 4, but the core subjects that we spend most of our day on. So the reading, the math, the language arts, the listening, and the spelling, and it's just that part of the test. So what we spend the vast majority of the day on. And then in the complete battery is where we add in the science and the social studies. And this is mainly just used by the school, so we can see where the school falls.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So because you don't spend as much time on
science and social studies, these subjects are not part of the basic battery portion?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So here's an example.
Let's look at this top section still so that we can go over how to actually read the results.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the number of items. So let's look at the reading section. So there's 108 items, so that's the total number of questions in the whole reading section.
Okay.
Now keep in mind this was taken in a day, but we had breaks so they could stretch, they could go to the bathroom, get snacks, like it wasn't just them sitting there all day going over it. So the raw score is how many that she got correct. So she got 83 of the 108 questions correct, which put her in the 53rd percentile. So if we look over here at the bell curve, you can see that she actually fell above average. So 50 is where we want them to be. It's the middle, the mean. So since she was 53, she was above the mean.
Okay.
So then also if we look up at the bell curve up here, you can see that she would be right in the middle, which is exactly where we want them to be. So she actually did pretty well on that part.
So can I have a copy of this?
Yes, and I have a packet here with like a bell curve and some more information for you that I was going to send you off with.
Okay, because it really helps me visualize. Also, if her percentile like is around 50, then we're right on track for every subject, or is this like just reading?
So this one's just the reading, but we can look over here and we can see where she is for the other ones also. So I also wanted to show you the scaled score. So on the scaled score, she got a 508, which is also, if you look over here, there's the CTA scores. And so this is made by the Comprehensive Test Achievement. That's why it's CTA. And it shows for their meaning of grading, because it is in percentile, so it's not in percentages, so it's not a grade, it's a score. So this is their way of scoring the test by the test makers. So again, the mean, it goes from 200 to 800, with the mean being 500. So since on this paper it shows that she had a 508, she is above the mean.
Oh, okay.
So, do you have any questions on the scale scores?
No, I don't think so. It seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it really is. And once you like understand this, it's a lot easier.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're gonna look at the bottom half, because that was just like the top half. And I will send you home with a bell curve, so that way you can, when you're home and you wanna look at the other sections, you'll totally be able to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the criterion reference information. So this is just looking at her as herself, not compared to other students and stuff. So let's start by looking at the math section. So it's right here under math concepts. And we're gonna look, there were 44 questions in the word problems. So there are 44 questions and she got 32 of them correct.
Okay.
And so then on this side is where we have the cutoffs. So it's low, medium, high. So in this section she did medium, which is exactly what we're looking for. And so then we can also look at the other sections. But is there a certain sub-test area that you wanted to look at?
Let's look at social studies, because it looks like she scored pretty low, but other than that, I don't really have any questions.
Okay, so in social studies, it does look like she did low, but if you look at the number of questions, there were 6. And she got like 4 in each one, and the ones that do say low, so it was about average. But if you also look up here, she's in the 78th percentile. So she actually did quite well in this section, so it's just like important to look at both because it can be very confusing. So I think if you are concerned about something, definitely check it on the bell curve to see where they lie before, because this part might just be a little, it might confuse a little. So I was very proud of her in the science section. Actually, I wanted to point out, I know that she's always been very interested in science. She's very enthusiastic when we get to that part of the day. And she scored very well. She had high and only mediums. So I'm not surprised, but I thought I would point that out because she did do excellent in this area.
Awesome. Wow, well, this test is really detailed. Thank you for calling me in. I'm learning so much.
I'm so glad you could make it.
Yeah, I would have been so lost if I wasn't like looking at this with you. Like if I was all by myself, I would see all these numbers and be like,
what's going on?
did she do good or did she do bad?
Exactly, and that's why I wanted to have you in so we could go over it and avoid all that confusion.
But what are some ways I can help her in her lower areas, like consonants maybe?
Okay, so in the consonants, I think the best way to help her with this would just be to have her read out loud to you so you can hear her fluency, hear how she's pronouncing the words so that you can better hear her. And so by doing this, you can either help her to sound out the words, and then after time you should notice that she's improving with her pronunciation and her fluency.
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, she reads sometimes to me, but not as often as we should. Like, we don't do it like every single night like we should. I'll also pay close attention from now on, so to her reading. So, would you say she did pretty good on the test, like as a whole?
As a whole, I would say yes.
Okay.
If you look over here, the percentile bands, you can see that she's pretty much in the mean area. Around the 50s. She does have some very high scores over here. So yes, I would say that she did very well, and it's very useful for me so that I can keep this in mind while I'm teaching her also, so that way I can help her in those areas that she might be a little lower on.
Yeah.
So I do have these packets for you to take home with more information. It has a bell curve in it, it has the test scores. And if you have any other questions, feel free to call me, email me, whatever you need, I'm available for. And I just love having Alex in my class. She's just great. She's such a fun kid, and she's always so enthusiastic to learn. So I think this will help her a lot, and it'll help me a lot, so I can help her along the road.
Well, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to do this with me. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Good to see you.
You too.
Thank you.